she was wearing a blue dress. Some people say she disappears the moment a driver pulls over. Others insist that she steps into the roadway and then simply vanishes before the car reaches her. Ooh, that's creepy. One of the stranger details that has become attached to the legend is that she has no hands.
Ooh.
Welcome to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. We're your host. I'm Felice.
And I'm Andy. And we are coming to you from Key West, Florida.
Yes, we are. And it is hot. It is hot here.
Yes.
I was roasting today.
You're broasting.
I was broasting. Bro. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, welcome. We are two goofy girls who love to hear and tell stories about haunted houses, spirits, cryptids, and all things spooky.
Spooky. Don't worry, though. We respect the forces that are behind all of the spooky stuff, and we know to keep a safe distance.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we are fully aware that we do not know anything or really understand what's happening with any of this stuff.
That's true. We don't know much of anything.
It's true.
But that's okay. We keep it light as we work our way through the strange and unusual. You'll hear us laugh a little or a lot as we bring you stories that make you question and give you a chill.
A quick warning before we begin. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Our tales are drawn from folklore, history, and reported experiences, but we don't claim them as fact. Some stories may include sensitive topics, so listener discretion is advised.
Dive into the shadows with us as we bring you haunting tales in this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Shall we dive in?
Most people experience Lake Lanier from the surface. They know it as a place to spend a Saturday afternoon. Families rent pontoon boats, kids jump off docks, fishermen head out before sunrise, and every summer, millions of people spread towels across its beaches without giving much thought to what lies beneath them. If you only saw the lake on a sunny July weekend, you might wonder why anyone would ever call it one of the most haunted places in America.
Oh, man, I thought we were going Lake Monster.
No, the people who know the lake best usually have a very different perspective. Lake Lanier has been called America's deadliest lake. It sees close to 12 million visitors a year, making it one of the busiest recreational lakes in the country. With that many people on the water, accidents are inevitable. Even so, the number of serious incidents here has been unusually high for decades. Georgia's Department of Natural Resources has recorded well over 100 drownings and dozens of boating fatalities since the late 1990s alone. Wow. And almost every summer brings another round of tragic headlines.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Some years are worse than others. In 2023, 13 people died on Lake Lanier.
Whoa.
Far more than any other lake in Georgia that year.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Even recently, recovery teams have responded to multiple drowning deaths within the span of a few weeks, prompting local dive teams to once again remind visitors that nearly every drowning victim they recover wasn't wearing a life jacket. So lots of accidents are happening. People are drinking, you know. The water isn't clear. In many places, it turns almost completely black, just a few feet below the surface.
Whoa.
I always think about...
I don't like that.
No, after living here,
Oh, yeah.
I am ridiculously picky about the bodies of water that I will go in. You know, like we can see everything. Everything is so clear in our water that I'm not putting myself in like a muddy lake.
Oh, God.
I can't do it. It's too scary.
I always get scared, even out here. Like today I had my mask on and my
really
fins and everything.
Yeah.
You could see everything. And I'm like, oh. But sometimes when I'm out there, if it's like just a little stirred up and I can't see all the way to the bottom, I'm always looking around wondering what's coming.
Yes.
What's here?
Yeah.
I could not do like dark lake.
I know.
Ooh.
Snakes.
No.
Too scary. Visibility can disappear so quickly that divers often can't see their own hands. Instead of looking for what they're searching for, they're searched to reach out and feel their way through the darkness.
This is a nightmare.
Those are divers with equipment.
That's a nightmare. No.
One diver once described searching underwater and reaching out to grab what he thought might be a tree limb, only to realize it was an arm. He has also talked about feeling a leg before he ever saw the body it belonged to.
Ew.
This isn't a ghost story. It's simply what happens when you work in water where your hands often find things before your eyes ever do.
No.
Isn't that so creepy?
No.
Ooh.
I'm out.
Danger alone doesn't explain why this particular lake has inspired so many ghost stories. There are lakes all over the country where people have drowned, where boating accidents happen every summer, and where discovery divers are unfortunately kept very busy. Few of them have become the subject of books, documentaries, and countless stories about restless spirits. To understand why Lake Lanier is different, we have to leave the water for a little while and look into the history of the land beneath it. This is going to bring back a memory for you.
Okay.
Lake Lanier didn't exist until the 1950s. Before the water arrived, this part of northern Georgia was a landscape of rolling farmland cut through by the Chattahoochee River. There were churches where people gathered every Sunday, dirt roads connecting neighboring farms, ferry crossings, schools, small family cemeteries, and communities that had existed for generations. One of the communities was called Oscarville. This reminds me of the town that you did in Pennsylvania. Remember that?
Yes.
That lake or pond?
Yes. Oh,
What's the name of that place?
Livermore.
Oh, Livermore. Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was picturing kind of like the treetops sticking out and all of that.
Yeah.
Weird. So they made this town.
Yes.
Or, I mean, they made
this lake on top of a town. Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
So the name of this town is called Oscarville, and we will dive into Oscarville, which is often described as a ghost town beneath the lake. But first, we need to go even further back in history. By the time the reservoir filled, this land had already witnessed forced removals, racial violence, broken communities, and lives cut short. If places can absorb the emotions left behind by the people who lived, suffered, and died there, then perhaps Lake Lanier didn't become haunted after it was created. Perhaps it was haunted long before the water arrived. Before there was ever a lake or even a town, this land was home to the Cherokee and Creek people. They had lived throughout this region for generations before white settlers began pouring into North Georgia after gold was discovered in the Blue Ridge Mountains in the late 1820s. What followed became one of the darkest chapters in American history. The federal government forced tens of thousands of Native Americans from their homes and marched them west to what is now Oklahoma. Thousands died along the way from disease, exposure, and starvation during what we now remember as the Trail of Tears. One of the documented removal routes passed through the area that would eventually become the western edge of Lake Lanier.
Okay.
Decades later, the Civil War left its own mark on this landscape. Before the Army Corps of Engineers flooded the valley to create Lake Lanier, many known cemeteries were relocated, including graves possibly belonging to Civil War soldiers.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah. Historians believe that not every burial site was identified. Like many large reservoir projects across the country, isolated graves and abandoned family cemeteries may still remain beneath the water because no one knew they were there when the valley was flooded.
I hate that idea.
I know. It's sad. This brings us back to Oscarville. In the years before 1912, Oscarville was home to a thriving Black community. Families owned farms, operated businesses, attended churches they had built themselves, and established lives that stretched back decades. It wasn't a forgotten settlement tucked away in the woods. It was a successful community where people expected to raise children, grow old, and eventually be buried alongside generations of their families. But in summer of 1912, everything changed. A young white woman named May Crow was found badly beaten outside of her home. She died from her injuries 2 weeks later. Before an investigation had really run its course, suspicion centered on several young Black men. One of them, a man named Rob Edwards, was arrested and placed in the county jail. It's kind of like To Kill a Mockingbird, right?
I mean, this repeats so many times.
Yeah, absolutely. This man never received a trial. A mob stormed the jail, dragged Edwards into the streets, and lynched him in broad daylight while thousands of people watched.
That's awful.
What followed is known as the Forsyth County Expulsion. Armed white mobs rode through the county threatening Black families and demanding they leave immediately. Homes were burned, churches were abandoned, families fled with only what they could carry, leaving behind farms, businesses, and land that many of them had spent their entire lives building.
That gives me a chill, not in a scary way, just like ick.
Yes. Well,
It's so sad. Like,
it's so sad. It's hopeless.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
By the end of the year, nearly every Black resident of Forsyth County had been forced out. For decades afterward, Forsyth County remained almost entirely white. Oscarville never recovered. The buildings remained for a time, but the community itself had been erased long before anyone imagined building a reservoir there. So, I mean, that's just heavy energy. All of that. Like the Trail of Tears, the Civil War burials and, you know, things like that. And then this tragedy
All this
over and over and over. That's just heavy energy.
Yeah.
Before you even make a lake, right? More than 30 years later, the federal government announced plans for the Buford Dam. Atlanta was growing rapidly, and officials wanted flood control, hydroelectric power, and a dependable supply of drinking water for the future. Building the reservoir meant flooding thousands of acres of land.
Wow.
As the project moved forward, hundreds of families were brought out and asked to leave land that in many cases had been in their families for generations.
That's so sad. And that would be so hard.
Absolutely.
I also have such a hard time wrapping my brain around the creation of a reservoir.
Yeah.
Like lake, dam, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I just, you know, they're like, you know what we really need? Lots and lots of water on this land right here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then they build a giant structure or whatever, and then they use it for power.
I know. I don't understand. I wasn't a civil engineer. But
Neither was I.
but I don't know. It boggles my mind that people do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Sometimes I see things like big, huge structures that are man-made and that were made a really, really long time ago. And you think, how in the world did they figure this out?
Right.
You know, and do it.
Yeah.
Like, how did they, whatever, haul all these rocks over there or whatever it was. You know what I mean? So these families had to leave that land that had been in their families for generations. Roads were closed, bridges were abandoned, and entire forests were left standing because removing every tree from nearly 60 square miles of land simply wasn't practical. When the water came, it swallowed almost everything that had once made the valley feel like home.
Where did the water come from?
I'm assuming a river. Yeah. I don't know what river, but a river. That's where it had to come from,
I could like have a bird's eye view and see, here comes the water, you know?
Yeah. And it just pools in there and then stops.
Wild. Okay.
The Army Corps of Engineers relocated hundreds of families as the water slowly rose across the valley. They moved many cemeteries before flooding began, but again, not every grave was relocated. Some families chose to leave burial sites where they were. In other cases, isolated graves or poorly documented cemeteries were left behind.
Yikes.
When the lake finally filled, it covered almost 60 square miles of what had once been someone's home. Lots of people's home.
Yeah.
What lies beneath the surface is an entire landscape that once functioned just like any other rural community. There were roads that connected neighbors, bridges people crossed every day, churches where families worshiped, and homes where ordinary life unfolded until the water slowly covered everything. Beneath the boats are roads that used to carry traffic every day. There are stone foundations where houses once stood, bridge supports, old ferry crossings, rock walls, and trees that were never cut down before the flooding began, like in Livermore. During severe droughts, when the lake level drops far enough, some of those forgotten places begin to emerge again.
So spooky.
Yeah, visitors have photographed old roads disappearing into the water, crumbling foundations, and remnants of structures that haven't seen daylight in decades.
That's so
It's
spooky.
weird, yeah. If you're a historian, those ruins are a reminder that real people once lived here and that entire communities disappeared beneath the reservoir. If you're interested in the paranormal like we are, it's easy to look at those same roads and foundations and wonder whether the places can somehow remember the lives that were lived there.
Can you imagine if you're a ghost that's haunting this land from long ago, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the heck? There's all this water.
Talk about a renovation.
Right? Be
Whoa.
so mad.
I'd be so mad.
I can't even see
Like
my
a
hand in front of my face.
You're like a Civil War soldier. Like,
Right.
what's going on?
Right?
Yeah,
And
that
then
would
like,
be
do
weird.
you have to be on the bottom or are you going to be like up on the lake?
Can go swim. That's a great question.
I don't know.
Do they float?
But you know, if you're tied to a like physical
The
space, like the land,
Yeah.
and you're just like, especially if you are what do I want to say, like a Not a residual, like an active. If you're an active
like an
ghost,
intelligent
an intelligent ghost, you're like, what is this?
Yeah, that would be really weird.
Oh my gosh. I have so many questions.
I know.
Ghosts, let us know.
Tell us in the comments, ghosts, if you've been haunting a place that's been flooded. We want to hear your stories. Okay, so let's hear some hauntings.
Okay.
We'll start with the Lady of the Lake. On the evening of April 27th, 1958, two women named Delia Mae Parker Young and Susie Roberts spent the evening dancing at a local roadhouse. They were in their 20s, enjoying a night out just like countless other young women had done before them and after them. At some point during the evening, Delia borrowed one of Susie's blue dresses. That's an important point.
Okay.
It seemed like the kind of decision that wouldn't matter by the next morning. Instead, it became one of the details that would define the entire mystery. Neither woman made it home. When they failed to return, family and friends searched desperately for answers. There were rumors that they had left town. Some believed they had simply disappeared. Some others suspected an accident, but no one could find any evidence to support it. There was no wrecked car, no witnesses, nothing. Nearly a year later, a fisherman spotted the body of a young woman floating near what is now Brown's Bridge. A year later. Time in the water had made identification almost impossible. Investigators noted that she was wearing a blue dress, but with the forensic technology available in the late 1950s, they couldn't determine who she was. So she had borrowed the blue dress, but nobody knew that as her dress. Right. So they knew, the two girls knew.
Right.
But nobody else knew that she had that blue dress.
So they thought it was Susie or whichever one it was.
They just thought it was whoever. They didn't attach this body with those two girls.
Okay.
She was buried in an unmarked grave as Jane Doe, while the second missing woman and the car remained lost somewhere beneath the lake. So she wasn't found. So they didn't, they weren't thinking that it was these two ladies.
Okay.
That mystery lasted for more than 30 years.
Whoa.
Then in 1990, construction crews working near Brown's Bridge made an unexpected discovery. Resting on the lake bottom was a 1954 Ford sedan. Inside were human remains. Investigators were finally able to determine that the remains belonged to Susie Roberts. That discovery also solved the mystery of the unidentified woman recovered back in 1959. The woman buried as Jane Doe had been Delia Mae Parker Young all along.
Oh.
And the blue dress had never belonged to her. Isn't that so sad? Her family didn't, they had her body for all that time, but they didn't know it was her because they didn't have that investigative,
that
skills.
Her body was found in 1959. When did they
in
disappear?
So it was found, 1959, a year later.
Okay.
Right. And then the car was found 30 years later. So that small detail about the blue dress delayed her identification for more than 3 decades.
Wow.
The discovery answered questions that had haunted two families for more than 30 years. But by then, something else had already taken hold around Lake Lanier. Long before investigators located the car, people had started telling stories about seeing a young woman walking along Brown's Bridge after dark. Sometimes she was standing quietly near the guardrail. Other times she was seen walking down the shoulder as though she'd been stranded and was waiting for someone to stop. Nearly every version of the story described her the same way. She was wearing a blue dress.
Oh.
Some people say she disappears the moment a driver pulls over. Others insist that she steps into the roadway and then simply vanishes before the car reaches her. Ooh, that's creepy. One of the stranger details that has become attached to the legend is that she has no hands.
Ooh.
A woman named Elise has told a story on several podcasts like Spirits Uncorked and Spooked about losing control of a jet ski on Lake Lanier when she was a child. She says a woman in blue appeared to her and calmly said, "This might hurt a little." Elise survived an accident that easily could have killed her, and she's always believed that the lady of the lake protected her rather than harmed her.
Yikes. I would be freaking out.
Yeah, no kidding.
This might hurt a little.
This might hurt a little. You might be okay.
Where'd you come from, lady?
Yeah.
Is she on the back of the jet ski? You're like, whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, okay. The one in the dress was Delia, right?
Yes.
And the blue dress was
She
Delia.
had 4 names. Yeah. Delia. Yeah.
And she borrowed the blue dress. Was she the passenger in the car?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. She's probably pissed.
Yeah.
She's like,
what happened?
She's like, what did you do? Like,
oh
why,
my gosh.
Why am I stuck in this lake and in your dress?
Maybe it was like the coolest dress ever.
Well, maybe
that's why she borrowed it.
I mean, maybe. Or maybe she's just in the afterlife really regretting that she borrowed this dress. Like,
yeah, her ghost dress wasn't even like one of her own things.
Her
that she got
ghost
to pick.
clothes are like not ideal. You know, it's like
Yeah.
when you get something on yourself, you're like, oh man, can I like borrow something to wear?
Yes, yeah. Could be. Okay, let's move on to another haunting. A small church once stood in the community of Van Pew before the valley was flooded. According to local legend, on quiet nights when the lake is perfectly still, people have reported hearing a church bell ringing from somewhere beneath the water.
Okay, now I have a chill.
Divers have searched for the church over the years but have never confirmed the story, yet the legend refuses to disappear.
That's spooky.
Some locals believe the bell is calling people back to a congregation that no longer exists, while others think it's simply another reminder that entire communities still rest beneath the lake. Ooh, ghost bells. Yikes. We also have ghost lights. So some boaters have reported seeing small lights moving across the water long after the marinas have closed. They don't behave like other boats, and they don't stay in one place long enough to investigate. By the time someone changes course to get a closer look, the lights simply disappear.
Where else? Oh, at Fort Jefferson, right?
Oh, yeah. Lights
At the dry
all
torture.
the water.
There's
Yes.
all those lights.
Yeah. We've had a few stories about ghost lights, you know, but
Yeah.
especially over the water.
Mm-hmm.
What if it's UFOs?
No.
There are places in this country where people tell ghost stories because something frightening happened once. Lake Lanier feels different because the stories never really stopped. Every few summers, another tragedy brings the lake back into the national news. Recovery divers head out again. Search boats begin sweeping the water again. Another family waits on shore, hoping for better news than they're likely to receive.
Aww.
That's sad. That's really scary. As the years have passed, the folklore surrounding Lake Lanier have continued to grow. Some boaters have described hearing what sounded like someone calling for help, only to discover there was no one nearby.
Ooh.
Swimmers have told stories about feeling something brush against their legs in the water where nothing should have been.
No. I am picturing like ghostly fingers.
Yes.
Like reaching.
Oh, so creepy. Others describe engines stalling in places where they never had experienced mechanical problems before. But we know how boats are.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, they're not
reliable.
Not reliable. Some people believe the Lady of the Lake is the only spirit that still walks these shores. I don't know. I'm not so sure. If places really do hold on to the energy of the lives lived there, Lake Lanier would be almost impossible to count. Cherokee families who were forced west, the residents of Oscarville who were driven from their homes, families who watched the valley disappear beneath rising water. The hundreds of people who never made it back to shore.
Yeah, not to mention those people.
Yeah, right. I know. Like all the people playing on a boat, not wearing a life jacket.
Right.
Yeah.
How many was it since the 90s? A whole lot.
It was like over 100, I thought.
That's wild.
Yeah. Maybe that's why so many visitors leave Lake Lanier feeling as though they're not alone. Perhaps they're right. Would you go to Lake Lanier?
I don't think so. I mean, I might look at it from afar.
Like the beach.
Or like dip my toe.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd be swimming in those pitch black waters.
No way.
The moment I felt anything touch me, I would be out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. That's too scary.
Too
And like,
scary.
what is it? Is it just the dark water that like makes people...
Maybe the dark water creates boat accidents. You know, if the water's lower than what they're expecting, they're like crashing into stuff.
Or if you're swimming, you get disoriented or something.
And especially people are drinking, they're not wearing a life jacket. I don't know.
Yikes. That's scary.
It's pretty scary.
Wow.
And it has quite the reputation.
Wow.
Quite the spooky reputation.
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. It's my pleasure.
Well, speaking of things you enjoy,
Okay.
are you ready for a spooky somebody told me?
Yeah, I can't wait.
This somebody told me is spooky.
Okay.
Okay. This is from Jemmy. Jemmy is originally from Belize. When she was growing up, her grandparents had an ice cream cart selling homemade ice cream.
Okay.
one day somebody couldn't make it to work. So Jemmy said she would go in. She was driving down the road. It was about 3:30 or 4 in the morning. All of a sudden, in the middle of the road, she saw La Llorona.
What? What? How did she know? Oh my gosh.
La Llorona right in the road, right in front of her. Jemmy stopped. La Llorona rushed straight at her.
What?
And then was gone.
Oh my gosh.
Jemmy said in Belize, La Llorona is well known. When she was growing up, she said kids would say La Llorona into mirrors, kind of like Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary.
And she would appear.
Oh
She
my
said
gosh.
everybody, not everybody, but many people talk about hearing her wailing and crying and saying, Mis hijos.
Gosh, I'm so scared. And she saw it in the road.
She freaking saw her. Jemmy told me the story in person.
Okay.
She said she just
Did
rushed
she say
right
what
at
she
her.
looked like?
She said just like,
You just knew. She just knew.
yeah, I mean, because this is part of their culture, right?
Yeah.
You know, but I think pretty much according to her, how you described her in your episode, you know,
Yeah.
like long,
Yeah.
scraggly hair,
Yeah.
white dress, wet.
Ugh. Oh. Well, gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight because we had to talk about La Llorona again.
I know.
Every time we talk about La Llorona, it's so scary.
It's so scary. But, and side note, this is not Jemmy's only story, but I had to cut them out because they're so scary.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't wait to hear more.
I couldn't even deal with this story though.
Oh my gosh.
Like she was like, yeah, it was just her in the road. And I was like, whoa, what were you doing? Like, how
What'd
did
you
you
do?
feel? She said she just froze.
Yeah.
And she was like panicked and she was so scared.
And did she go like over her, through her,
she
or
said she just
disappear or what?
rushed straight at her and then was gone. That's it.
Ooh.
Didn't go
that's
through
good.
her, thank goodness.
Yeah, thank
I
goodness, that's
wasn't
good.
sitting in the back seat.
Whoa.
But yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's really scary.
I know. It's like straight out of a horror movie. I cannot.
Yikes. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jemmy. Yikes. Okay.
So thanks so much, Jemmy, for sharing that incredibly scary story with me. And thank you to all of you for listening to this episode of the You Two Scare Me podcast. Have you checked out our website, you2scaremepodcast.com? We sell all our cool merch there, including lots of spooky graphic tees and our fun collab with Sleepover Clothing.
Yes. Our shirts are so cute. I got a lot of comments about them.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Listeners, you can help support us by telling everyone you know about our podcast. Every new listener, follower, subscriber really helps us grow.
Please, please, please leave us sweet reviews and comments wherever you get your podcasts or where you watch or listen. We love reading them so much.
Don't forget to check out our social media. Find us on Instagram at you2scareme_podcast, on Facebook at you2scaremepodcast, and on our TikTok at you2scaremepodcast, no spaces.
Remember to send us your own spooky stories like about La Llorona.
Yeah, we do. Even though we're scared, we love La Llorona stories.
Or anything spooky for our Somebody Told Me segment at you2scaremepodcast@gmail.com. That's YOUTWO scare me podcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for wandering through the shadows with us.
Until next time, stay curious and beware what lurks beyond the light.